Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the crucial signals from the week in artificial intelligence, strip out the noise, and deliver the essential insights right to you.
And this week, the signals are pretty intense. We're looking at a map of future AI leadership that is, well, being actively redrawn right before our eyes.
Okay, let's get right into it because we have a lot to cover. Four critical areas today.
Right.
First up, compelling evidence from researchers shows how China is rapidly closing the technology gap with the U.S., even with some major constraints in place.
Then second, a huge domestic legal story. The U.S. Department of Justice has launched a brand new task force.
One specifically designed to challenge state-level AI laws.
Exactly. And third, we'll pivot to CES 2026. It really felt more like a robotics showcase this year, and we'll look at some of the astounding commitments made there.
And finally, we'll wrap up with a quick rundown of the top AI tools trending this week that you can use, right now to boost your productivity. Let's jump straight in.
Let's do it.
So our first major update is a pretty stark assessment of the global AI race. The consensus from what we've seen is that China's AI sector is accelerating.
Rapidly closing that technological gap with the U.S. Much faster than many experts were predicting even just 18 months ago.
And what's driving that? Is it just top-down government mandates?
That's what's so fascinating. While government support is definitely a factor, this is being fueled by a genuine sort of groundswell of innovation.
So it's organic.
It is, combined with a strong, I'd almost say aggressive appetite for risk among younger Chinese entrepreneurs. Some analysts are now predicting a Chinese firm could challenge for the title of the world's leading AI company in, the next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years, that's an incredibly short window. What are they actually doing on the ground to justify a prediction like that?
They're focusing their efforts on two core areas. First is obviously cutting-edge large language models, LLMs. The second is chip-making capabilities.
Which is where the constraints come in, I imagine.
That's the one. But in the LLM space, you're already seeing firms like Minimax and Zipu AI making huge strides. Their debuts on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange were really strong.
And they're trying to build everything at once, the hardware and the software.
That's the strategy. A vertically integrated ecosystem, co-developing both at the same time.
That's a crucial point. Here in the West, we've always relied on specialization, right? One company for chips, another for software.
And if they pull off this integration, it fundamentally changes the competitive battlefield. It allows for faster iteration, better optimization, and crucially, resilience against sanctions.
But you mentioned the constraint, hardware.
Right. While their LLM development is flying, the process of developing the advanced chip-making tools, the really foundational stuff, that's expected to take longer.
How much longer are we talking?
Sources suggest we might not see true maturity there until closer to 2030. So the gap remains in the most advanced hardware for now, but the software race is already incredibly tight.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, what's the takeaway for a business leader?
It means that increased global competition, it's not a theoretical risk anymore, it's happening now. For you, that means taking a hard look at your own company's reliance on foreign components and, frankly, accelerating your own innovation to stay ahead.
That context is incredibly important. Okay, let's pivot from that international competition to domestic friction.
A big one.
The U.S. Department of Justice just announced the creation of the AI Litigation Task Force.
And this is a direct outcome of the policy from President Trump's executive order on AI. The goal is to restrict what the administration called excessive state-level AI rules.
So the core mission is to stop states from creating regulatory hurdles that might slow down innovation on a national level.
Exactly.
The tension here is obvious. States say they're protecting consumers. The federal government wants to accelerate growth. So how does this task force actually work? What are the legal mechanisms they can use?
They've got three primary levers. First, they can challenge laws they just think are outright illegal. But the two most powerful tools are about federal power. They can argue a state law is overridden by existing federal regulations. That's preemption. Or, and this is the big one, they can challenge laws that unconstitutionally regulate interstate commerce.
That phrase gets thrown around a lot. What does that actually mean for the listener? Simple terms.
It all comes down to the Commerce Clause in the Constitution. Basically, the federal government controls business that flows between states.
Right.
So if California, say, passes an AI law that makes it really hard for a company in Texas to operate or sell services across state lines, the DOJ can step in.
Because it's burdening the national flow of business.
Precisely. They argue the state is overstepping, trying to prevent this, patchwork of 50 different regulations that could choke the whole national economy.
And who's leading this push?
It'll be led by Attorney General Pam Bondi or an appointee, and it includes people from various Justice Department offices. They're also coordinating directly with the White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs.
Which signals this is a high-priority coordinated effort.
Very much so.
So which states are in the immediate crosshairs?
The early focus seems to be on states that have been pretty proactive. Colorado, California, Utah, and Texas are all mentioned specifically in what we've seen.
So for a business leader, this means you need to watch this space closely. State-level regulatory risk might go down, but you're in the middle of a legal battle.
Absolutely. The tension between state consumer protection and federal innovation, it's not theoretical anymore. It's an active courtroom battleground.
Okay, let's transition to the broader AI and robotics landscape. Specifically, let's look at the huge announcements from CES. And as we mentioned, we should probably slow down here a bit to really capture the scale of what happened.
Indeed. CES 2026 just felt different. It wasn't about bigger screens or thinner phones. It was a robotics runway.
A robotics runway. I like that. We saw everything from stair-climbing robot vacuums to humanoids scooping ice cream.
Robotics was definitely the star of the show.
And one robot in particular just dominated the conversation. Atlas, from Hyundai and Boston Dynamics. It won the CES Best Robot Award.
And you can see why. I saw one source describe its movement as almost unnervingly fluid. It really impressed the media with its human-like walk and how close it seemed to being ready for industrial work.
The tech was amazing, but what really stood out was the business commitment that came with it.
That's the real story here.
Hyundai unveiled concrete plans to manufacture about 30,000 Atlas units a year by 2028.
30,000. And this is where it gets really interesting because that's one of the U.S. industry's first concrete mass production commitments for a sophisticated humanoid robot.
So this isn't just a pilot program.
Not at all. This is putting a stake in the ground for American robotics manufacturing. It signals that humanoids are finally leaving the lab and heading for the factory floor.
That's a massive commitment. But if we look at the broader picture at CES, the U.S. didn't really dominate the floor in terms of, sheer numbers of robots.
And that's a critical distinction. It ties right back to our first topic on China's accelerating pace. While Atlas was the standout winner, Chinese companies just overwhelmed the humanoid robotics category at CES.
What were the numbers?
The data we saw showed that 21 out of 38 exhibitors in that specific category came from China.
Wow.
Yeah. Big delegations from companies like Unitree Robotics and Agibot, showcasing a whole range of different approaches.
And that dominance on the show floor, it seems to reflect a longer-term strategy in intellectual property, too.
It does. The scale of their research commitment is just staggering when you look at the patent data.
I saw that Morgan Stanley data.
Over the past 5 years, Chinese companies have filed over 7,700 humanoid-related patents.
Compared to what in the U.S.?
Just 1,561.
That's more than a 4-to-1 advantage.
Yeah.
Why does that patent quantity matter so much?
Yeah. Because it translates directly into control over foundational IP. If your companies control the patents for, say, hardware mechanisms or locomotion designs, it makes it much harder for foreign competitors to build their own systems without paying you licensing fees.
It's a strategic move to lock down the future economics of the industry.
Exactly. It mirrors that integrated strategy we were talking about earlier with LLMs and chips.
Now, shifting gears just a bit, another tech giant made a huge play at CES, NVIDIA. Not just building a robot, but trying to become the underlying operating system for the whole sector.
The Android of robotics.
That's the ambition.
And it was a brilliant strategic move. They dropped a full-stack robotics ecosystem. The goal is to provide the common AI platform, the brain, really, that every other robot builder can use.
To make themselves indispensable.
Precisely. They unveiled a whole suite of new foundation models. The two key ones are Cosmos Reason 2, which is for vision.
So the robot can understand what it's seeing instantly.
Right, without needing months of custom training. And then there's Isaac GR00T and 1.6.
And that handles movement.
Whole body control for humanoids. Think of it as the central nervous system that manages balance, manipulation, all of it. By providing these ready-to-use models, they drastically lower the barrier to entry for anyone wanting to build a robot.
And it seems like it's getting immediate traction with developers.
Absolutely. They deepened their Hugging Face partnership, connecting millions of robotics developers and AI builders. And robotics is now the fastest growing category on the platform, which suggests developers are really hungry for these kinds of standardized tools.
Okay, let's transition now to our final segment. The tools that are trending this week, designed to make your professional life easier.
Right, the practical applications. We'll try to focus on the impact these tools offer you directly.
Starting with number 1, ChatGPT Health. This is a new, very private mode just for health-related conversations. The big emphasis is on clarity, privacy, and structured guidance for sensitive topics.
Next is LTX2. This is an open foundation video model. It gives creators really enhanced control over cinematic video generation. You can experiment with visual styles, camera moves, things that used to require a high-end studio.
Tool number 3 is Font.ai. If you're in e-commerce, this is a huge time saver. It's a whole suite of AI tools and templates for product photos, banners, catalogs, all built to increase sales conversions.
Then there's Wonders AI. This is an AI research companion for anyone who deals with a lot of academic papers or professional sources. It helps you explore databases, organize your sources visually, and it streamlines the really tedious parts.
Like citations.
Exactly. Imagine clicking a button and getting all 20 of your citations perfectly formatted for a research paper. It's that kind of time saver.
And finally, rounding out our top 5 is Alluver. It's an integrated career workspace that streamlines the whole job-seeking process. It tracks applications, tailors your resume, analyzes role fit, it even helps you prep for interviews, all in one place.
A lot of power in those tools, all designed to maximize your impact and free up your time.
We covered a monumental amount of ground today. We looked at the accelerating reality of global competition, with China's AI sector making these aggressive strides.
The domestic regulatory battle being fought by the DOJ's new task force.
And that huge push in robotics we saw at CES, confirmed by real mass production commitments and platform ambitions.
The main takeaway is that all these pressures, geopolitical, regulatory, platform plays, they're all converging right now. Understanding how the DOJ's attempt to accelerate U.S. innovation clashes with the threat from China's integrated model is essential.
The next few years will really define whether the West retains its dominance.
Or if we face a fundamental shift in the AI center of gravity.
We hope you gained some valuable insight today. Please share this deep dive with anyone else who needs a fast, thorough summary of the week's critical AI news.
We hope you gained some valuable insight today.
See you in the next episode.